Please adjust focus for maximum sharpness of picture. Adjust volume control for proper level. Please adjust tone control for maximum clarity of my voice. We hope the time spent in these adjustments will provide you with a better looking and better sounding film.
Late again, but I couldn't get my car to move. The brakes were locked. And I had to wait almost an hour for the auto club to come and loosen Yellow Cab Company, do you know where the Olympic La Brea Motel is? Yeah, well, can you get a taxi here right away? Okay, I'll be outside. Okay, great. Gee, I'm sorry I'm late again, but I couldn't get my car to move. The brakes were locked, and I had to wait almost an hour for the auto club to come and loosen the brakes.
Helen, sit down. Why make waves? I don't care what anybody says. She doesn't look as though she has a drinking problem.
Now, before we make any judgments about the supervisor, remember, he has no way of knowing whether he's being told the truth or not.
Now, look, I believe you, but you should get your car fixed, because the other secretaries are beginning to talk about how many times you've been late in the last month or so.
I know, but it's my car. It's keeping me broke. You know how many times it's conked down in the last few months.
I'll tell you what. I'll lend you the money. You can take it to my mechanic and get it fixed, and there'll be no more lateness. Okay? We don't want to make any waves, do we? It's the last time I'll be able to protect you.
Like most alcoholics, she's learned to lie like an expert. And by not dealing effectively with the cause of her lateness and absenteeism, the problem will continue to exist. He is also providing her with a permissive situation, which has already made waves with his boss, as well as other employees who feel that favoritism is being shown. Now, this supervisor is also making the all too prevalent mistake of expecting the alcoholic to look like the stereotyped Skid Row bum.
Rudy. Yes, sir. I'd like to talk to you. Now, let's go someplace where it's not as noisy. All right. I hate to be the guy who rang you out on Monday, but I just couldn't make it yesterday. You know that old strain in my back? Well, it came on like gangbusters. I don't hardly move a muscle. I was flat on my back all weekend, and yesterday, too.
Hey, Guerrero. You, Guerrero. Let's go. Your wife's here. You've been bailed out. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can fix your hair later. Let's go. Come on.
You know that old strain in my back? Well, it came on like gangbusters. I couldn't hardly move a muscle. I was flat on my back all weekend, and yesterday too.
I'm going to have a heart-to-heart talk. I'm going to talk to him like a Dutch uncle. I know he's a problem drinker, but we can make it. Rudy, who are you kidding? We've known each other a long time. We got to be honest with each other. I drink, and so do the other guys who work here.
But I don't know why you...
They don't come in late all the time. They don't take off all those Mondays.
Listen,
they don't take off early on Fridays either. I can't protect you from the front office anymore. They can see it in these worksheets. Look, Rudy, let's have a heart-to-heart talk. I want to talk to you like a Dutch uncle.
If the worker is an alcoholic, he thrives on just such heart-to-heart talks from Dutch uncles or aunts, just as he probably has on other jobs before this one.
I've been in charge of men a long, long time, so I know. The guy who's late all the time takes off all those Mondays, and when he comes in smelling of booze.
Listen, I never come to work smelling from booze. What are you talking about,
yes,
man?
Yes, you do, Rudy. To me, that guy's an alcoholic.
Me, a drinking problem just because I'm out with the buds?
The supervisor is on the alcoholic's home ground in a discussion of alcoholism. The alcoholic has many years of practice at deceiving everyone, wife, bosses, policemen, and especially himself, giving him the skill to lie and to manipulate the supervisor.
No way, no, sir. You can call my wife. She'll tell you how much pain I had.
I'm not going to call your wife.
But why not?
Because you're lying, she'll swear to...
Listen, my wife won't lie to you.
I'm trying to help you.
How?
I can't protect you forever. And you're a nice guy. And you do good work whenever you're not absent, late, or hungover. So why not admit it? You are an alcoholic.
What the supervisor doesn't know is that alcoholics will frequently not admit to being an alcoholic up to the day of their death. Not after the DTs, all the jobs they've lost, and the families they've destroyed. However, the admission of a drinking problem is the first step to recovery. The supervisor is rarely qualified to help the worker make this decision, nor is it his right to call or diagnose any worker as an alcoholic. This is the responsibility of a specialist. The supervisor should stick to the matter of job performance.
That's why I'm asking you. Cut back. Taper off. You can't go on the wagon all of a sudden like, you gotta drink. Don't drink on Sunday. Hey, not after lunch. That way, if you get a snootful, you can still come to work on time on Monday, and nobody will be the wiser. Hey, if you can do all that, good. That way, you've solved your problem and mine too, and I won't have to fire you. Hey, you see how simple it can be?
What the supervisor should know is that the alcoholic cannot control his drinking, which is by definition what makes him an alcoholic. Working out an arrangement for the alcoholic to drink will not work and will help the alcoholic to destroy himself and the other members of his family. Alcoholism is a progressive disease and can only get worse, as will the employee's job performance and the supervisor's problems. Were the supervisor to limit his discussion with the worker to work attendance, lateness, and level of job performance while hungover, and to send the alcoholic to the employee's assistance department within the company, the alcoholic would have an excellent chance of recovery. Both of them may be fired.
I'm sorry things got so blown up out of proportion, but, well, I did leave a note on your desk, and I did tell Marie where I was going. It was just one of those unexpected things, you know. An old war buddy of mine got stranded up at the airport. I was the only other guy he knew in Denver. I had to pick him up. Well, he felt real low. He has a hard time getting in and out of places. So I went to pick him up. I put him in a motel right by my house. He's a real nice guy, and believe it or not, I owe it to him because he saved my life once.
Marie, I don't think I'll be back for the rest of the afternoon.
Hi. How you doing?
Usual?
Sure, why change a good thing?
That's right.
Well, my good man, let's try another, huh? One more, come on. Come on.
So look, I know you have to drive. And maybe enough is enough, huh? Maybe you should go home.
Well, aren't we being solicitous? Hey, look, my money is good any place. That is, any place where gentlemen serve gentlemen. I put him up at a motel by my house, and I owed it to him. You see, because, believe it or not, he saved my life once.
Another far-out excuse. I'm going to refer him to the next management level. Let them handle this loser.
About 3 years ago, you were my most valuable man in the area. Now, I don't know what happened, but your work has been going downhill for a long time, especially in the last year. And I've never heard so many excuses. They all seem so reasonable and so right. Till you check out the ones that you can. Now, I've tried to be flexible, but I don't think it's worked with you.
By not confronting the worker with documented records of early departures and late arrivals, the supervisor gives the worker another opportunity to continue poor job performance until the next serious incident.
Wait a minute. I hate to say this, but I don't think that's fair at all. I really don't. I mean, I've done a lot of good for this company. I've saved it a lot of money, and I've also earned it a lot of money.
That's right, you have. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been so flexible.
I'm sorry I'm giving you so many excuses, but sometimes things run in cycles, you know what I mean? And I won't have any more.
No, wait, just a minute. No, what cycle are we talking about? The one where you had to leave yesterday around 3?
Well, that was on my note. Did Marie tell you?
Marie didn't tell me anything about it. Why didn't you tell me anything about it?
Well, I looked in your office. You were right.
All right, now let us just hold it right here. We're not going to check out any more of your excuses, and I am through pursuing the elusive truth with you. I'm turning you over to our mutual boss, Hancock. Let him work something out with you. I only know that you haven't worked out here. Well, that's all.
The supervisor is merely passing the buck, unless he passes documented facts of the employee's poor job performance, along with a referral to their mutual supervisor. Without these facts, the employee will be able to continue lateness, early departures, absenteeism, and other details of poor job performance in new assignment until it's discovered to be a problem by a new supervisor. This is just one more reason to send the employee to the appropriate company facility to deal with his work-related problems, which have continued after the appropriate steps have been taken by the supervisor.
There you are. Elaine told me I'd find you here. Boy, am I glad to see you.
What happened to you?
You're going to find this really hard to believe, but I'm lucky to be here today because I almost got killed. Do you mind if I have some coffee? I really could use some. Well, when I got up this morning, I got up really early so that I'd be sure to be here on time, you know, after all these other times. And now, picture this, if you can. I'm driving along, minding my own business, when this character comes running out into the street, waving his arms like crazy. I have to slam on my brakes to avoid hitting him, and I just missed hitting him, luckily. He tells me that his wife is having a baby, and that his car won't start, and that I'm going to have to take them to the hospital, right? And he thinks it's going to have to be a cesarean. So what could I do? I mean, I couldn't phone you. It was an emergency, and things were just happening too fast. So I helped him get her into the car, and finally we drove off to the hospital. Now, you're not going to believe this either, you know. But He didn't know how to get to their hospital. So now we got to stop and ask for directions. Only nobody knows where this hospital is. Turns out it's a brand new one. So finally, I tell him to call his wife's doctor's office, and they'll tell him, which they do, right? So now, I'm driving along like crazy because I don't want her to have that damn kid in my car, and besides that, she's got to have a cesarean anyway. And now, hey, you won't believe this either, I'm telling you. We get pulled over by a police car for speeding. And before we can tell them what's happening, she goes into labor. She's lying there screaming with pain, and her poor husband just gets hysterical. And these two scared young cops, who've obviously never done this kind of thing before, are trying to call for an ambulance over their radio, and they chase me and the husband away. But the husband keeps trying to get back to help his wife, who's lying there screaming. So I try and restrain him, right? Only he goes crazy and starts trying to beat up me, the guy who's trying to...
Newell? Yes. Okay, Mr. Newell, have you had anything to drink tonight?
No, just a little bit, not much. I'm okay. That's what I'm telling you. I can go home and I can get some rest and I'll be fine.
Well, I think it's obvious you've been driving under the influence of alcoholic beverages.
I'll place you under arrest this time. I want you to...
You're not going to place me under arrest. I'm not
Put your hands on the car. Put your hands on the car. There you go. There you go. Okay. Keep your hands on the car and step back, please.
Gave us a Rodale Road and Laurel. And now it's possibly LaRue.
Okay, get your feet in.
See you guys at the station.
Okay.
Oh, yes, normal traffic. S2.
Sit up straight, take a deep breath, blow into the machine until I tell you to stop.
You know, one of those policemen actually had to pull a gun on him. Can you believe that one? I mean, the whole thing is totally unbelievable. And then now I gotta wait while this damn kid...
Hey, Newell, your wife's here. Come on, let's go. You're bailed out.
While he afford his ambulance to come and pick them all up and take them all away to the hospital. And if it hadn't been for all that craziness, I would have been here exactly on time, just as I had planned to be.
This is the craziest story he's ever told. I'll have to fire him.
Well, that's one of the longest and craziest stories I've ever heard from you this year. You must think I'm really stupid to expect me to believe that one. You know what I think? I think you really had a bad night from the looks of things, and you're just getting over one of your hangovers. And you just have to pull yourself together so that we can meet with a production engineer in Shreveport. So I'm sure you've had a little hair of the dog on the way in to prepare you for this session.
Me? Why would I?
Now, let's finish this as easy as we can for both of us. Your work is bad, your attendance is bad.
Oh, but I told you.
And your excuses aren't any better. I'm going to have to let you go. I cannot handle an alcoholic.
But I'm not an alcoholic.
Well, if you're not an alcoholic, then you drink too much for someone with your responsibilities. I'm sorry, but that's the way it has to be. You're a luxury this company cannot afford.
Firing the employee does nothing to solve the employee's or the employer's problem. The company loses the employee's training and experience, and the employee may lose his life. If he is an alcoholic, he's a desperately sick individual who needs highly specialized treatment now, and the sooner the better. When he's no longer employed, the best connection he had with a source of help, whatever the company program may have been, is no longer available to him. Therefore, by firing the alcoholic, the company has lost the very lever which can get this person well and save him for himself, his family, and the company's needs as well. And to most alcoholics, being fired is a much more serious problem than for non-alcoholics. Being fired may arouse the fear of the loss of money for liquor, as well as a serious loss of self-image. Most alcoholics will accept counseling in order to remain employed, and most will recover. There is also the possibility that job termination will lead to the actual loss of life of the alcoholic through the slow suicide of continued drinking, or the more violent suicide, which is far more prevalent in the alcoholic than in the non-alcoholic. With the bottom line here being life itself, every effort should be made to get the alcoholic into an alcoholic recovery program. With approximately 22 million workers belonging to unions, guilds, and workers' associations, labor and management are in an ideal position to help the alcoholic.
Well, Joe, as you can see from Helen's work record here, we've got a serious problem.
I have to agree. Her record shows she's been a good worker for 14 years. It's unfortunate that her work's deteriorated in the last year.
It's too bad when that happens. But Joe, as shop steward, I don't have to tell you what the Joint Labor Management Statement says in cases like this. I have no alternative but to recommend that Helen see the employee counselor to find out what's causing the job performance problem, or to have her accept the discipline, which is in this case severe.
I'd really like to see her get some help. It's apparent she's not going to straighten herself out. This will be our 4th meeting with her in the last 9 months.
Well, it certainly looks like I'm on trial, doesn't it?
No, Helen, you're not on trial. We're trying to solve a problem.
Whose problem? Yours or hers?
Neither. We're not here to pass judgment on anything other than your job performance. Now, after reviewing your record, and after this latest incident, I must recommend that you see the employee counselor or accept the disciplinary consequence.
What do you think I am a problem? All I need is to be left alone. Well, I'll be a little bit more careful about the things in this
I'm
thing.
afraid it's too late for that, Helen. Now, you've read it. Absent, late, fights, accidents, sent home twice intoxicated.
Oh, it's finally coming out. Why don't you say it loud and clear? You think I'm an alcoholic. Well, I'm not. And nobody has a right to tell me I am.
That's right, Helen. No one is calling you an alcoholic. But if you have personal problems, that's exactly what they are, personal. And I don't intend to discuss them with you. I'm neither qualified, nor is it any of my business. But your job performance is my business. So if you do have a problem that's causing your job deterioration, you can, as we have told you before, see the employee counselor who is qualified to diagnose your problem. And if you follow the procedure he recommends, I will hold off on any disciplinary action. Now, Helen, you know that anything you discuss with the employee counselor is strictly confidential.
Thanks a lot. You don't seem to realize...
Mrs. Pauley, I'd like to speak to Helen alone. We'll be back in about 15 minutes.
Well, look, I have a meeting that I have to attend, and it's going to take at least an hour. Why don't you use this office?
Oh, thanks. I'll see you after lunch, and we'll see if we can straighten this problem out.
Fine.
Well, what is the union going to do about all this baloney?
All this baloney, as you call it, doesn't give the union much evidence for a good defense. We could make an issue about who kept the records on you and what's in them, but that isn't going to do any good in your case because, as you know, this is the 4th time this year we've been through this. You've been absent and late time after time. You fight with your co-workers. And, Helen, you've been sent home twice for being drunk. How do you expect the union to defend that kind of work record?
You're a big help. Can't you tell her she has no right to interfere with my personal life? She's got no right to make me go to the employee counselor if I don't want to.
That's right, Helen. She doesn't have the right to make you go for counseling, but the union management program gives you the alternative to go to the employee counselor who can determine what the problem is and see that you get the help you need. Or you can accept the consequences of not going. The decision's yours.
But there's nothing wrong with me. You're calling me a psycho, just like she did.
I'm not calling you anything. I'm telling you that when an employee's job performance falls below a certain level, management has the right, according to the program, to find out why.
Can't you tell her to give me a break? I've been with the company for 14 years.
Helen, you've had your share of breaks already. You're the one that made this record. You refused the help that was offered and promised to straighten up, but you didn't do it. Your attendance record alone is enough to get you fired. The union's done everything possible up to this point short of arbitration. Frankly, Helen, I don't think the membership will vote for arbitration in your case once they've heard the facts. The choice for help or discipline is yours.
Choice? Doesn't look like much of a choice to me.
Helen, you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. Why not try the employee counselor?
Just like that.
Right.
You're telling me you want me to see some shrink.
Helen, it's not what I want that counts. It's what you want. You're a grown woman. It has to be your choice. You've read the company and the union policy on this program. And you know that asking for and getting help is not going to affect your job security or promotional opportunities in any way.
So what do I have to do?
You don't have to do anything. But if you decide you want to, I'll set up the appointment with a counselor for you tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I'll tell Mrs. Polly to hold off on the disciplinary procedure.
Okay, okay. Like you said, what have I got to lose?
What has Helen got to lose? Helen has nothing to lose, nor has the company or the union. All have a lot to gain by Helen accepting the offer of counseling. It may even save her life. The union has met its responsibility to a seriously ill member. The company may well have retained a valued employee, and that's good business. Here at United California Bank, we have rehabilitated employees for pennies when it would have cost thousands to fire them. We have improved morale. We have acquired top-level talent from our competitors as the result of our policy of hiring rehabilitated alcoholics. Our image in the community is that of a socially conscious employer. And while we bankers can always use that, what company can't? These and other monetary savings do not lend themselves to cut and dried cost analyses, but we know they are substantial. It's no secret that as bankers, we're concerned with your profits, which is why we don't think your company can afford not to have a program. Contact your local office of the National Council on Alcoholism. They will help you start one for your company or agency. If you don't have a local office, call NCA headquarters in New York.
Needless to say, the bottom line in dollars is of immediate concern to the employer and to the rest of the community who may have to assume the financial responsibility for the alcoholic and his family. The bottom line in industry is billions of dollars. The bottom line to society, to all of us, are the billions of dollars that get passed along in consumer goods, taxes, and rehabilitation services. However, there are other bottom lines without dollar signs. Bottom lines which don't appear on the neatly ruled business ledgers or on the mute columns of statistical readouts. They are the bottom lines of human suffering for the alcoholic and those who he or she affects. And of course, there is the ultimate bottom line to all alcoholics, life itself. If there is a bottom line to all we've seen, it's the positive knowledge that the alcoholic does have a choice, because alcoholism is a treatable disease.